What up, y'all? It's Golden Spaces, an Odyssey original podcast with Justin, Nat, and Kariemah. Welcome. So the Warriors this is actually a pleasant title. I didn't pay attention to what our producer wrote at the bottom. Warriors lose to Raptors 133-118. I mean, they were really demolished. They got blown out. It was embarrassing. These losses don't even hurt me anymore, though. They really don't. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a little hard because the Raptors, right? Like the Raptors aren't that good this season, but the Raptors also recently made trades. And since they've made those trades, they've been playing better. So we didn't get the Raptors team that has been sucky all season. We did get the new and improved, revitalized Raptors team. So they're a better team right now. But still, you would have liked to see the Warriors put in some more fight. You know, we haven't spoken since the loss to Denver. So they did have another game after that. That was the loss to Detroit.
Win against Detroit.
The win against Detroit. All right. Y'all know what I meant.
Listen, we racking up L's just randomly.
Right. That was the win to Detroit. That was a very tight game that required some Steph heroics. And I saw a lot of people calling it pathetic and all of this kind of stuff. And I guess the way that I look at that too is like, I think that loss to Denver is like a very mentally draining kind of loss. Like, I don't know, you tell me, Justin, but you come off of a loss like that, you have to play the next night. People got to remember, like, our stars are older. Back-to-backs are hard anyway, you know? And like, I get it, especially because the Pistons have been so bad the whole year. They're easy to clown, but they also have been a team that's been in most of their games all year. Boston went to overtime with them. So to me, it's not that shocking that, you know, it went down to the end and required some Steph heroics on the second night of a back-to-back, coming off of what I'm sure is still a loss that most of them were not over towards Denver. So I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. Just happy that they got the W. But now they come in tonight playing Toronto, and they just looked really lethargic. It looked like they didn't have any energy. And I think some of it had to do with the new lineup that Steve Kerr tried tonight. So I'll stop there. That's me basically sort of setting up what's transpired since we last spoke. What do you think right now about the Warriors and their current state, Justin?
Well, I mean, just to answer your first question, I don't think that Detroit win was pathetic or whatever people said. It was a good win. Like you said, the Pistons are in a lot of their games. They just lose at the end. And it was the second night of a back-to-back after a game against a really good team. And yeah, like you said, the Pistons are not as bad as their record. They are bad, but they are in a lot of their games. And it took a vintage Steph and Clay kind of fourth quarter to get it done, and that's what they did. But tonight, it was just kind of a blowout from the beginning. Like you said, no energy. Yeah, just lethargic. Steph didn't have a great game. And I mean, it's been something that's been consistent all season, right? I know that's your guy.
Just go. I already know you're going to go in.
I know that's your guy.
So just get
Wiggins
it
didn't
out
have a great game. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm just saying Wiggins didn't have a great game. I think it's been much of the same. You're
going at him on Twitter, so have the same energy here on our podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little more unfiltered on Twitter, but yeah, I just think he doesn't bring energy anymore. He's completely kind of lost his rhythm offensively, right? Like getting to the basket and finishing has taken a nosedive. His jump shot has taken a nosedive. Kind of awareness and stuff with the ball in his hands, more prone to turnovers. And then, like I said, defensively, he just doesn't do the things that he was doing before, which would kind of wreck another team's offense, you know, getting more steals, more blocks, more deflections, all that type of stuff is kind of out of the window at this point. And then the hustle plays are just not there, right? Like Steph is getting put under the rim after every time the Warriors get a shot up. because someone from the Raptors just running down the court and just post and step up under the rim. And it's like, one of you tier 1 athletes should be running down the court and preventing that from happening. And it just wasn't happening. And, there was one possession at the end of the, I believe, third quarter, right? Yeah, because they cut the lead down to 9. And then Wiggs comes back in for Clay. I think it was some other subs as well. It was just a bad lineup choice, right? There's no Steph, there's no Pods, there's no Clay on the court. So your offensive initiation is just all on the bench. So thanks, Steve, for that. But the Raptors start another run as soon as that lineup comes in the game. And then at the buzzer, I think someone turns it over. I think Moody turned it over or something. And then they kind of
before the Moody turnover, it was Kuminga, because Kuminga, he had a 3 he could have taken, and he decided to drive instead. And I would have just preferred him take the 3, because like he might make it, he may not, but you drove into traffic, like I don't mind him posting up someone one-on-one, but you drove into traffic, and it resulted in a turnover. He didn't even get the shot up. And then they went back. I think they got a stop, or either the Raptors missed. No, they did. They got a stop. They got a stop, I believe. And then they came back, and then Moody turned it over. Just a really bad way to end the quarter. And then even at the end, when Kuminga, I think it was Kuminga, blocked the shot, the Raptors got the quick putback and to end the quarter. So then like all of that work, like that, the killing of the run, as you noted, was Kerr deciding to take Clay out, bring Kojo in, and do what he did near the end of that third quarter. But they just really, you would have thought after the way they ended that quarter that he wouldn't start the quarter with those same guys. And then he did. Let the lead get back to 20, and then it was a wrap. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Justin.
No, you're good. You said exactly what I was going to say. But yeah, specifically that putback play back to Wiggs, he just didn't run back on that play and just kind of watched that happen. Those are the type of plays you have to be able to prevent, right? You're the best athlete on the court. Run down the court and just either get that rebound or make sure they can't get the rebound. And he just doesn't make those plays with any type of consistency anymore. It's completely gone from 2022. So I think that's been the biggest reason why he has struggled this season in terms of impacting winning. Like I was been saying, the shot making and stuff like that, whatever, right? Like, but what can't not be there is the energy. And it just hasn't been any energy or awareness, kind of like all season is. And I think this was probably his worst game of the season. But
I would agree with that, because he actually got to start again. So I thought, really, you're back in the starting lineup, buddy. Here's your chance to really shine. And it's against Toronto. You're from Canada.
Yeah.
I would just think kind of that layering, and he had been playing well up to this point. Like, we had seen some flashes like the last game or whatever. I don't think he was all that. However, he had like consistently put some games together as he was coming off of the bench, to where you're like, okay, Wiggins is probably going to get back into the starting lineup, because he had put some good work together. And then to come out like this, you've got the start and nothing. Like, it's one thing if, okay, Stefan's just not having a good game. That doesn't mean you can't have a good game. Like, you can't say, well, hey, he's not really, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm going to pick it up. Like, no, where is that? Like, you're in the starting lineup again, dude. I'm just going to need a little bit more from you, and not from what you displayed. And then in the third quarter, he had been sitting for a minute. So he comes in with like a minute to go in that third quarter, and you can't hustle. You still tired from all that sitting?
I don't think he's tired. I think Wiggs is checked out for whatever reason. And I'm not,
right. And I'm
not excusing that, but I don't think it's he's lost talent. I don't think it's those things. I think he's checked out, and I'm not in his head, so I don't know his range of emotions, Part of it is probably losing some of his confidence on some level. Some of it is probably getting taken out the starting lineup. Also, the uncertainty. I mean, that affects all players no matter what. And the best way is to just play better to get back in it. but I think that's just what it is, you know, and I don't know if it's going to improve this year, but it's another reason probably why trading him may be the best thing. Like shit like that just happens, you know? So
for both parties.
right. So I don't, you know, I don't think it's like I just think he's checked out. And again, I don't know what caused it. We don't know everything behind the scenes, but I just think that that's what happened. But I want to ask you a question, Kariemah, because like I don't think anyone's disputing that Wiggs has not played well. Everyone knows that. But with regards to Steph, and I mean, I want to hear from you too, Justin, but I think Steph is tired. I actually really do. I think he's tired.
Yeah.
And it's I didn't even look, so I don't know. People might be getting on me on Twitter, who knows? But I tweeted right before we started. You know, this is another reason why Draymond's actions are so selfish and like really annoy me, because you put them in a position where Steph can't have a night off, right? Because like if you had a little bit more wins and a little bit more cushion, right? Like they probably would say, all right, we got to give Steph a rest.
Right.
But they don't feel like they can. They're not in the position to. And I think he's tired. And I think he's physically and mentally tired, because you're asking a lot of him, right? Like he's had to carry all of this shit, right, for the team. And then there's just like the regular physical toll. Like, yeah, he's the best conditioned athlete in the NBA, but he's also 35, right? So I think that's part of the reason the shooting is not where it needs to be. I think that's also why he's like, I'm just going to keep jacking up threes. Like he's tired. Like he doesn't, you know, it's a lot. I'm not trying to make excuses for Steph. I think he's tired.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. And I would lean heavily on the mental side of it, because also him and Draymond do have a chemistry on the court so much that him not being there, Stephen does have to pick up a lot more and be like, all right, let's try this, let's try that, let's do all of these things, while also saying, oh, but I've got to be the guy every single night, because if I'm not, there's a chance we don't win. But if you have your ace, you can kind of, I don't have to put in that much extra work. And then on top of just everything happening, kind of having to be like, I got to deal with this guy. I got to figure out what's going on with him. Wiggins, I got to figure out what's going on with you. Like, it's just all these layers and layers. And he's also 35. So, and then you have your supporting cast who haven't all come in together playing at their peak, or just kind of, hey, all right, they're playing at least decently. No, they're crap in the bed. So that's another thing of, okay, that means I have to be the one to do it all, or we don't even have as many wins as we do. So, yeah. And hey, he's going to have a bad game here and there. Here it is. And again, it's not like he didn't do stuff. He still kept trying to figure out, hey, let's try to get back in here. I'm going to try to do something to try to get us, you know, closer and to get this dub. So,
yeah, I wouldn't even be mad if they rested him on Wednesday. They're probably not. But like before they start that road trip, I feel like, I mean, the Lakers suck anyway. They're probably going to lose to the Clippers tonight. They're right there. So, I mean, you guys are both right in the spot for the 10th seed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you got to give him a rest at some point, and you're about to start a road trip. But I feel like Steph needs the rest, Justin.
Yeah, I think, like she said, mentally above anything, I think it's just very taxing to go into every game knowing that, like, pretty much no one is going to make your job easier. Like, Steph is making everybody else's job easier, right? But there's no one that's like, the things that Draymond do offensively does in a certain way make Steph's life a little bit easier, right? He ain't scoring the points for Steph, but the way he's screening for him, the way he can ignite a fast break on the defensive end, which just brings energy to the team and just puts the defense in a kind of chaotic panic state, where Steph thrives at, right? the handoffs and all that type of stuff. And he's also a guy who Steph is very comfortable putting the ball in his hands and just letting him make decisions, right? So he doesn't have to make every decision or think about, should I give this guy the ball in this position right here? He's not really going to do anything with it. He gives the ball to Draymond pretty much anywhere in the court because he knows Draymond is most likely going to make a good decision with it. Or he's at least going to be comfortable living with whatever decision Draymond makes. Other than Klay right now in pods, he doesn't trust anybody with the ball. So he's mentally taxed on top of the fact that every team is looking at him like,
Right.
well, we're gonna have to guard Steph and we're gonna have to guard Klay. Everybody else, we just let you get your few layups here and there, but we're gonna make sure these two dudes have to work extra hard to score. And that's just draining to deal with on a game by game basis.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, age is also a factor here. Playing a lot of minutes, he's up there in the age.
He's only missed, 2 games so far this season? I thought it was 1, but it's 2, I think, right?
I think he missed the Minnesota game and OKC.
Yeah. So, I mean, that has to be on their radar, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know what you do, but like I said, the Dre and the being out really, really hurt them a lot in just so many ways. Before we move on, because I feel like there's just other things around the Dubs to talk about, but I did want to talk a little bit about the lineup changes tonight, and just a couple of things I noticed, and then Justin, Kariemah, if you guys had any other things, let me know. One, that lineup. Okay, so I don't think anyone really ever thought Steve Kerr was lying when he said Wiggs and Kuminga don't work together. But the one time that they did work together, it was when Brandon Pajimski was also on the court. That's the one time. It's like the only time it's ever worked where like it was.
And I think with Draymond like early in the season.
Yeah, so it was okay, and Dre. So Dre or Brandon. But when the most recent time it worked, it was Brandon, the two of them, and Trace. And that lineup actually looked pretty good. But he obviously couldn't really, or I in his mind, I don't think he would have wanted to do that because he was trying to keep pods for the second lineup, right? So, and you're not gonna not start Klay. So he went with Klay. Didn't go well. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be really any different with Moody either. So you can't play these two together unless either Pods or Dre is in the lineup, which really limits them, let's say, right? So and if one of them is going to be starting, it should be Kuminga. I think that's pretty clear, right? I mean, Wiggs hasn't played well enough consistently to justify him coming back into the starting lineup. So when Draymond does come back, what do you think the starting lineup should be? Because I proposed something, and a lot of people actually agreed with me, but there were a handful of people really, really, really concerned about the spacing. So I said Steph, Klay, Dre, Trace, and Kuminga. Sorry, not like in the proper order, but that was the 5 that I had. What do you think which 5 it should be, Justin?
I think it should be that same 5 just to test it out. I think that would be their best defensive 5 while also maintaining some offense on the court. And like I said, like Steph and Klay, they get guarded in a way that nobody else in the league get guarded. But Draymond is perfectly capable of making the decisions off of their gravity and stuff like that. He gets them the ball, but he also gets the other guys the ball when Steph and Klay takes 2 defenders with them. So I think it will work. He's also been shooting the 3-ball extremely well this season. So I think the spacing could be helped by that if he can maintain that 3-point shooting. And they would be really good defensively. I think JK at the point of attack, Klay on the wing, Trace at the rim, and Draymond just kind of playing free safety and stuff like that. You can hide Steph with that lineup, which is perfect. And they'll get out in fast breaks a lot with that lineup. If Dre comes back and he looks like what we expect him to look
And
like.
I mean, offensively, I feel like Trace and Kuminga can make them pay for the way that they guard Steph and Clay. And then the teams will have to choose, and it'll open things up, you know, for Steph and Clay. So like when people were like, oh, that's spacing, I'm like, okay, well, one, who do you want to put in for spacing, right? Like Wiggins, or is it Dario? You need something off your bench.
Yeah.
So I don't know who, but I was just like, I just don't see how the spacing is going to be that bad, because you have a vertical threat and
you have two.
Yeah. So like, I don't think it's as bad as people are going to think, but I was like, let me run this by Justin. Cause if Justin gives me the sign off, then I think I'm okay.
and I think the decision-making boost that you get with Draymond, it outweighs the lack of quote unquote lack of spacing. Because I mean, look at the starting lineup they played today. Wiggins hasn't been shooting the ball well. So you're not getting that much more spacing. And teams aren't guarding him like a true spacer out there. You can put Moody in there for more spacing, but you run the risk of being at a ball handling and decision-making deficit when you put Moody in there. And Pods could be in there. Theoretically, that would probably work, but you just won't have as high of a defensive ceiling. And Pods needs to man that second unit, like, because Chris Paul's not there. So Pods needs to run that second unit. So yeah, their best chance is probably with Draymond there, JK, Trace, Steph, and Clay. And if it doesn't work, you can always pivot. But I think that's the best place to start from.
Yeah,
I hope he does do that, Kariemah. What were you going to say?
I was going to say I agree with everything y'all said, because I can't see what I saw tonight with Wiggins and Kuminga playing together, starting, just IQ-wise. I'm like, y'all have to figure something out, because y'all are both like not doing stuff. And it's like, you can't both not be doing things out here in this lineup. But it just seemed like they just didn't know what to do. And
I think it's notable that the lineup only worked with both Draymond and Pods as well, because it's two other people who know how to help them and guide them and connect it all together.
Exactly.
In a way that Clay won't.
And I think it's the energy and the ball handling decision making, both Draymond and Pods consistently play with energy, and they make good decisions with the ball. And I think that's what you need to make Kuminga and Wiggins work together.
Yeah, because it's like they can't think on their feet or something when they're out there together without someone solid like that. Because today I was just like, you can move.
Yeah. They occupy the same role when they're out there. So like both of them can't play the same role at the same time. So it leaves at least one of them per possession thinking, well, what do I do if I'm not there? You know, if I'm not the guy that's finishing the play, or if I'm not the guy that's near the rim, what do I do? And that's kind of where they get mixed up. And then defensively, they just kind of like, I don't know, they just haven't brought the energy together for some reason. They should be dominant defensively together.
Well, that's what I was hoping for, but it was just like on that end, it was just like, hello, anyone available? Anyone? And it was like, don't you notice that they've got the mismatch on Steph? Why aren't you already like, nah, we got to switch this? Like, it was just like, oh yeah, it's all fine. It's great.
Let's just, jog back.
Yes, you take Siakam.
And it could also be both of them are used to guarding point of attack. So both of them are in the backcourt waiting for someone to bring the ball up when one of them should be running back to protect the rim. So
there's it's just like, but y'all don't know how to communicate. Like,
yeah,
you should know to like talk now. It's been a minute. Talk.
Yeah.
Open your mouth.
And we know Dre's going to talk. And if you watch, if you really listen closely to like the players' voices and stuff during the game, Pods talks a lot too.
Yes.
So it's another thing: communication, ball handling, energy. Pods and Draymond always bring that. Moody brings the energy, but he don't seem like a talkative guy out there, and he's not a guy who's a ball handler, decision maker. So yeah, he kind of fills the Wiggins JK role as well. He's kind of their type of player on this team. So it needs to be two of the Moody plus JK or Wiggins on the court, right? Not like JK and Wiggins together, if that makes sense.
Okay. So one last thing before we move on to other news surrounding the team. But one thing I just observed, and I mean, this will come better with time with Pods, and he's going to get that practice now with Chris Paul out. But his reads need to be a little bit better. Like, I would have liked him looking for Clay a little bit more while he was hot. And I feel like there were just times, and Corey Joseph is supposed to be more experienced, and he freaking comes in the game. And the first thing he does is like, Clay just hit a fucking shot. And he's like looking, I'm like, bro, Clay is right there. Get the ball to him. I don't want to see Corey Joseph ever. Like, I just feel like Steve Kerr, like, you don't have to play Corey Joseph because Chris Paul is out. You really don't. And Paz is young. Like, play him. You want to play 35 minutes? Play. I don't know what it is, but the Kojo minutes really hurt. But back to Paz. I mean, he didn't have a great shooting night. That's going to happen. Whatever. I'm not really that upset at that, but I do think sometimes he just doesn't see things he should probably see, and I expect that will get better in time. So that's really like my only critique of him. But I feel like it's like the reason I bring it up really specifically tonight, because I feel like it's not the first time I've noticed him like not looking for Clay or finding Clay. Like, I think if he's out there with Steph, he looks for Steph. And I do think he actually looks for like some of the other young guys, but I don't know what it is about Clay. I feel like Clay is not on his radar, and I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, he misses Clay a lot of the times that you're just like, Pods, like, swing your head, please. Like, he's right there. Did you forget he was on the court with you?
Yeah, I said a few games ago. He does that kind of a lot. You can see Clay kind of get frustrated this game. I think Clay had like quickly or something on the post up. It was some small guard on the post up, and Pods just like dribble, looked, and kind of just went away. And then you can see when the dead ball came, Clay was kind of talking to him like, "Yo, like, I was kind of open right there. Like, I had a mismatch." So I don't know. I mean, I hope it's not anything like deep about it, but yeah, I think in general, Pod's vision could be better, but that comes with reps. So less Corey Joseph and more Pods to get him making better decisions with the ball in his hands would be better for him long term and better for the team probably in the short term, because Corey ain't doing no better.
No, and Kojo did it as well. He missed it too, and it's just like, dude, and
the decision to throw it to Coach Corey in the post, like when he's surrounded by.
Well, no. That one time that they threw it to Corey, turn around. You've got a layup, buddy. And he didn't.
I mean,
No. That time,
I'm talking about when Brandon did it later in the game.
No, that one time. We're only giving this one time for Corey. He was open. And dude didn't even turn around. He just kicked it right back out. It was like, what in the world?
There are people I just don't want things being thrown to in the post at all.
I get that. Yeah, we don't need that.
He's not the only one. I don't want it for Dario either. Like, just I feel like more times than not, it does not work out. And I gotta tell you, I don't want it much for Loon either. Like, I just don't want it. Like, unless no one is around. Because with Loon, by the number of times he's gonna pump fake and stop to gather, the people are gonna get there anyway. But
he had a better game in the post tonight. He did. He had a very good game.
But I'm just saying, like, this is like once every 10 games.
Yeah, we get it. We get it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Kojo also passed up some shots that he should have.
Kojo,
I don't want to like at all.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
what's his brand name? Chioza.
Oh, yep.
He's just a better Chioza. He's like the guy. He's like on the court but no stats. Like today, 14 minutes, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks. It's like, what were you doing? You just getting cardio, bro.
He's a really great cheerleader. Just keep him on the bench to cheerlead. Like,
he's not bad. Like, he's not out there making bad plays. He just doesn't make any plays.
Right. And so it's just like,
but I don't know why Kerr feels like he has to play him.
And
the thing is, he'll go to him before like Moody. Other guys. Like, bro.
Yeah.
Just
shout out to Moses. Shout out to Moses tonight. Okay.
Hey, 21 points in 22 minutes. Stay ready. That's his name.
He was
Yeah,
auditioning for
For
the
Toronto.
Raptors. These reports came out on Friday, and we didn't talk then about about Kuminga, and basically him not trusting Steve Kerr to like manage essentially his career, and also Moses. It was a little vague on the Moses report, but basically that I'm assuming his reps have gone, to the Warriors as well about him and his playing time, right? And so both of these guys, I don't think anybody would disagree, have been mismanaged by the Warriors, right? So what are the chances that they want to stay with Golden State when that time comes? I mean, I know the way that like it's set up for the extensions and everything, they're almost like forced into staying. But if you really truly are not getting playing time and you're being yo-yoed, I feel like they might just be like, man, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, how are they ever going to get to play and show if they're always behind, if they can never break in? I mean, even if the Warriors were to keep Jonathan Kuminga and not want to trade him, and you bring in a player like Pascal and he goes back to the bench, that probably also won't go over well with him, which is why I think in the summer, that's when you look to make a trade with Kuminga, right? And then maybe get something else back that's better for him, and you get Wiggins trade and really consolidate the roster. But I'm just saying that these guys, they have to start playing. They're going into their third years of their career. So like, we can want to hold on to Moody, but I don't think Moody's happy being on the Warriors, even though he's playing, the team guy and not saying anything. So I don't see how they shouldn't trade them, because I just feel like they've mismanaged them, and there's not going to be a reason for them to want to stay, even though they're saying all the right things, which is what they should do. Since that report, we know that Jonathan Kuminga and Steve Kerr talked, right? We know that Steph also talked to him, and Kuminga since come out and said, oh, blah, 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 but that's what he's supposed to say. His agents and his people have trained him on the right things to say. So that's where things are with those two.
Yeah,
I personally liked what Kuminga did, but what did you two think about it? I know what Kariemah thinks a little bit, because we had a Spaces, Justin, but you and I didn't get to talk. So go ahead, Kariemah, and then Justin, I'm curious about your thoughts.
Yeah, I was fine with Kuminga coming out, because to me, it was still in a professional way. So I didn't have any problems with it. Yeah, you do handle that behind the scenes, but I think in this particular case, I'm okay with it being, put out to the world to see, basically, instead of just being handled behind closed doors. So I was fine with this particular way that it came out, and then how they all talked about it and everything. So I was fine with it. So
I think the timing of it was a little bit like right after that game. I think it was obviously on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Low point for the team, low point for the org. And it's just like, boom, emotions was high. Obviously, he was like, yo, we just lost. And I was playing well, and I just played the last 18 minutes of this game. Yeah, watch this. Which was, I'm kind of indifferent towards it. I can see why he did it, and I'm okay with that. And I can see why that wasn't like a good look. And I'm, not necessarily okay with that. So I guess I'm in the middle. I mean, it had to be said.
Fuck that. I don't get this protection that y'all want to give to the Warriors. The Warriors are not protecting him.
It's not necessarily protecting the Warriors. It's just like putting a whole like negative cloud over the thing.
Good.
Which, like I said, I see both sides. Like I'm both in favor of it, but I'm also
their hands. You don't get to keep picking players and not developing them and not managing them and telling them to wait their turn. You don't get to do that with people's careers. And you know what? If it suits the Warriors right now to trade Jonathan Kuminga, they would trade him. If it suits them to trade Moses Moody, they would trade them. And both of those guys have contracts to consider. You're fucking with their money because you know what? When it comes to negotiation time and they're like, wow, we can only pay you this because you only score this many points and you don't do this and you don't do that. Well, how can we fucking do that if the coach never puts us in the game? You know? And this Jonathan Kuminga, that was not the first time he's made his displeasure known to the Warriors. They know. You think he hasn't behind the scenes went to them on multiple occasions? What did Jordan Poole handling everything behind the scenes do for him? It got his ass traded to the Wizards. Right. To the Wizards. So, like, to me, they are owed nothing. And this is just my labor lawyer talking. You owe nothing to businesses and organizations. You should always look out for yourself, always, because they are not going to give a damn about you ever. Never.
For sure.
You fucking with my money? Nah.
And he's fucking with their money for players that, like, they're better than.
Anthony Lamb.
All right.
Ty Jerome.
Chris Paul.
Shout out to Ty.
Yeah, like he didn't go to the media in his first year. He didn't go to the media last year. This is 3 years in the making.
He did go to the media last year.
He didn't. He was reported on, but he didn't go to them. This is different. It's like even when he talked to Marcus, that's like Marcus talking to him after the game. It wasn't like this is different. This is like a story that dropped, which is intentional. That's
this one is different
than like the media coming to you after the game and asking you questions and you talking. That's a different kind of thing. But this is a report that Shams and Slater, because it was released together. This is information they had for a long time. It's information that they were sitting on, and it was information that his rep said, hold on to this and we'll see if it makes sense to drop it. And they probably were like watching, and it's like, okay, Kuminga's been playing, okay, Kuminga's starting, all right. And then in this game, Kuminga gets benched. The Warriors lose embarrassingly, drop that shit. That's what I'm saying. This is this tactic isn't something he did in the past.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We can agree to that. Yeah. Yeah. So again, we're in the middle.
Right. I mean, I agree with how he feels 100%.
Yes.
I agree that he should say it 100%.
Because the thing is, like, everyone's saying, like, it's kind of bad in the moment, but what's the alternative to talk to them again? Like, when Kerr says, you can come talk to me anytime. Okay, and what does that do for me?
Right.
What's the result going to be if I talk to you, Steve Kerr, right? Like, nothing was happening. You were being passive-aggressive about it, but you paid him 35 minutes the next game, right? It's like, and now the spotlight is on them. So they're going to be careful about just like benching him unnecessarily or doing stupid things because the spotlight's going to be on you, right? And also it's to their benefit to play him and Moody, because if you want to trade them, you want those guys to look good, not to be riding the bench. So for all these reasons, you need to play him. And sadly, like, I'm sorry Chris Paul got hurt. You never wish injury on anyone, but that, and honestly, GP2, both of them going down, opens the door for both of those guys to play right now and be on display for the whole like NBA to see like, do we want these players? Do they have something in them? So, you know, I saw Sam tweeted, we won't see Chris Paul in another Warriors game. I hope that's true. What do you think, Justin?
I feel the same way. I hope it's true.
Yeah, we're all in agreement.
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
What that mean?
At this point, that's 3 months. I mean,
4 to 6 weeks pretty much means up to the trade deadline. He's going to be hurt through the trade deadline.
Yeah, and I don't really think him being hurt matters for the trade line because it's really about his contract being expiring anyway. Like wherever he goes, it's going to be a buyout or it's going to be a three-team trade where the team that thinks he can help them gets him. And, you know, so like, as long as they know he's going to come back and play this season, I don't think it really matters because it's really just about him being expiring and some team thinking they can maybe get a little help in the postseason.
Yeah, I was speaking like in context of like him playing his last game as a Warrior. I think he's gone regardless. Yeah, and then also the other guys get more opportunity now that he's out. So yeah. I think
and it stops Steve Kerr from forcing the issue.
He's just gonna force it with Kojo now.
Yeah. But Kojo's just gotta catch a cold.
Do you think even when Draymond comes back?
No, I think when Draymond's back, Kojo's not playing. At least I hope. I really hope.
Yeah, I can't see
because he really doesn't serve
unless it's a blowout.
Yeah,
and he's clearing the benches.
He doesn't bring anything to the table that Draymond wouldn't bring anyway. So there's no reason to play him when Draymond's back. No.
All right. Well, I think we've hit all the bits of Warriors news that has transpired. It's been a busy news cycle for the Warriors in the last few days, hasn't it?
It has.
Busy.
Pelicans up next, right?
Yeah, and the Pelicans are playing well, I think.
Well, just temperature check quickly. Where are you guys with the Warriors right now? They're still making the playoffs?
After the trade deadline, the Pelicans beat the Kings by 33 today. So
and the Kings are having a difficult season this year. They're kind of up and down.
And Fox scored 3 points.
Yeah, Fox scored.
How? And people want to get upset with Curry, and he scored.
He's not Stephen Curry, so they're gonna get on him. But and you think it makes them rethink whether or not they need to trade Keegan Murray?
Keegan Murray.
Yeah, Kings ain't really doing much.
No, that was a shocking loss, though. I was like, how'd that happen? Like, okay,
sometimes it happens. Yeah, I guess kind of like our game.
Sometimes
you just get hot. The other team just get hot, and you just on a bad night. But
because I think they've beaten the Pelicans already this year. I could be wrong, but I think
the Warriors.
No, the Kings.
The Kings.
Oh, yeah, probably.
They probably have. Yeah. So
yeah.
Hey,
I didn't. Everyone was like talking about it. I didn't care that much about that loss for them. I've just noticed that they're just a little bit more like up and down this year. That's the main thing I've noticed.
Yeah.
Actually, they have lost all 4 games they've played to the Pelicans.
Really?
Not a good matchup for them.
Pelicans got that number.
I know they're hoping they do not see the Pelicans in the postseason.
Wow.
So
we need this win. Come on.
Playoffs, yes, for you, Kariemah. Warriors still make the playoffs?
We're still in it. We're still in it.
I think they still get it.
Is that wishful thinking, or are you just like you believe that truly?
I believe it. Yeah.
I believe even though Steph is a little tired right now, when it gets to that time, like April, March, they're going to turn it up just so they can get in, whether it's to play in or not. Now, if they get in to play in, anything can happen, but I do think they will not finish the season like outside of the play in. And I do think they probably get one of those higher seeded play in. So they're going to be, I think, either 8th or 9th.
I mean, right now, they could still get the 6th seed if they just go on a little run. It's that close. I think 5 and above may be out of reach unless another team spirals for some reason. But honestly, 6 through 11 is all still up for grabs.
Still bunched up in there, yeah.
So, and the Lakers, though, are very miserable right now. LeBron is doing lots of LeBron things and making crazy statements like his son could play on the team right now. So, that's a wild statement to make, yo. Like, that's wild.
He on his LeVar Ball. I kind of respect it.
That's wild.
I don't.
Like, how do your teammates feel in the locker room when you say that?
Shit, yeah.
Like,
you don't want them on the team anyway at this point. He want them guys out of there.
Everybody.
This is the team last year that just, went to the Western Conference Finals. And
I know, right? That's
so good. And now they're asked what happened in one season.
With this same coach. So,
Justin, I kept telling you that team was ass. Just the Warriors were just so silly.
I know. You can't get a victory lap on that.
And my last question. Is Steve Kerr the coach of this team next season?
Depends on the trade.
I still
They get
think
Siakam. I
I
think.
think he says no.
You
I
think no,
don't think
regardless.
it's done the trade. I think regardless, he's gone.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so. I feel like the fact that there is no talks at all about a contract renewal or anything or extension is notable.
Okay. I think
There
it's
hasn't even been an
similar.
expression that they still want him. You know, like with Bob Myers, it was like they want him and they're trying to see if they can get it done, but Bob needs to like think about things. We didn't even like hear that in the summer with Kerr. It's just no talks about it.
Yeah. I think Mike said it once, but Mike, I mean, he the GM. He's supposed to say that.
Yeah, he
But
also
I
said they
think
wanted Poole.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying. Like you can't believe anything he really says. I think it'll play out similar to the Draymond situation, where it's like at this very moment, no, but you could coach yourself, or in Draymond's case, play yourself back into good graces. And depending on how the team looks, because anything could happen in between now and the end of the season, where it's like, okay, we kind of need you, or I don't know what that would happen. But like with Draymond, it was like, okay, it's pretty much whoever plays better between you and Jordan from now to the end of the season, we probably going to that person. And Draymond won out. With Kerr, depending on if they make a big trade or something, like let's say they get Siakam and they go on a run from there, they probably can look at that and say, okay, let's just build upon this. You know, and maybe
I don't think they need to build upon that with the same coach.
They don't have to, but maybe that could just be their thinking. And I don't know. I mean, like we already know.
The question is also too, does Kerr want to return? I think there's
that's what I'm saying.
I think there's an assumption that he wants to be back. I don't feel like this year was enjoyable for him. I don't know what last year was like, but it's sort of like how Bob got wore down with things too. It's like you dealt with Draymond. He's exhausting to deal with. You had all the Poole stuff. Now this year, you don't know if Draymond will be volatile again next year. Like, I don't know that. I could be wrong, but I would just be curious about how much Steve Kerr is enjoying this experience, especially because
he's been on a hot seat all season.
Right. And he's getting the criticism. Like in the past before, he always got passes. It was like, oh, well, what do you expect? Clay and Steph are out. And there was always a reason to give him a pass until now. And he's not getting that pass anymore. Right. You have the national media writing about him, which is something they don't do. Because remember, Steve Kerr came from the media. So he has a lot of relationships there. You saw Boogie calling him out the other day, and Rachel was trying to like push back. Well, no, I don't really think. He's like, come on, what do you mean? Like, we should still be winning these games, you know, for team. And he's right. You know, like Team USA, they left there without a medal. They left without a medal.
Yeah, that's pretty
that's not something you can explain away because they sent the fucking B team. Like, stop it. There were so many questionable things he did with them, right? That kind of put his coaching chops on display. So, you know, it's like, he's just been catching a lot of heat. And so I don't know that he's enjoying it, but I don't think after this season that, like, Steph will always have say, but I just don't think that the big three have the pull anymore to be like, no, we want this and because they leaned into what y'all wanted. Draymond acted like, you know, silly, right? And Clay, you were not as reliable as you need to be. So I don't think they're going to have that, you know, like Mike Dunleavy's going to make the decisions they need to, what's best for the organization. And I think if they really feel like they need a new voice, then that's what it is. And I think at this point, it's like, you've done a lot for this organization, so we're going to give you the courtesy of not terminating you, but thank you for your services. Steve Kerr will honor you and all that.
Nat's getting so excited talking about it.
It's time to move on. I'm not excited. I just think, I don't know. Again, I look for context clues. I don't, but I do think it's notable that there's just really hasn't been like any discussions around extending him.
It is notable.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't know that he'll be back. So,
and truly, I don't know if he wants to be back. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that, because this is kind of like new territory for Kerr in terms of the criticism and all of this stuff, you know. And I do think there's, like, even if you get Pascal, I just think there's things that's outdated. And at least from a little of what I'm hearing internally, there's some recognition of what we did doesn't work anymore. Like, we need to change. And then you have to question, do you think Kerr is the right person to make those changes, right? Like, if his offense and the way he runs things, if there's a recognition internally that it's outdated, do you trust him to change with the times or the flow or whatever? And so if they trust him to be that person to do it, then sure. But I don't know if they trust him to do that, or not trust, but think he's the right person to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but somebody like Pascal could be the piece that would make it a lot easier to change stuff. So if I mean, that's kind of like the playing devil's advocate right there, but yeah.
So we'll see.
We will see.
Warriors. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in with us, y'all. Everyone in good spirits? Are we still in good spirits?
Always.
The vibes. What are the
vibes? That's what it is right now, because
no, you got to give a number. What Kariemah hasn't done a vibe check with us?
I'm a 7. I'm a 7 right now.
I was about to say like 6.5.
I was really leaning to that, and I was like, let me just go 7.
5 is the line. Negative vibes, positive. So we had like a little 7. Right,
but we're still positive.
We're still positive, even though he couldn't hit a jump today.
Okay. I am. We're just basing this on the Warriors, right? Because my other teams and other sports are acting stupid. So if I'm just basing it on the Warriors,
the Eagles cooked.
The Eagles
I can't even believe the Eagles are acting like
we're not talking about the Eagles right now.
Okay.
That's right.
If I'm just basing it on the Warriors, I'm gonna go 8.
Oh,
what? Color me surprised.
That means that sources know a trade is coming.
She must know something, because her saying that 8 after what we just watched. Okay.
It's an 8 for me, because I just like that the status quo is being interrupted. Like, I like the chaos. I think it's good. I think the Warriors display a level of arrogance that is earned, but also that's blinding them on some level, and has been. And so Kuminga shaking it up, Kerr being on the hot seat, you know, possibly trading this year, you know, the bench and the rookies playing, you know, like, it's really the starters fucking this up. Like, their bench is so good. Just imagine if their starters were just acting like they have sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, this team could be really dangerous. Really dangerous. And it's crazy, because that's what me and Justin said at the beginning of the season, that because they are so deep, we think that's what gives them an advantage, not knowing that the starters would act like complete loonies this season, right? So that's what I'm saying. So it's just like, but I just love that it appears they have a GM that recognizes the kind of talent that needs to be on the floor, and on the floor with Steph. I'm just happy that the status quo is being interrupted. And so for that, not because the Warriors and their player making me happy, but because all these other things are finally being disrupted, I have hope that for the final few years of Steph's career, that he'll have a chance. And honestly, I was worried before, with the way that they were moving, never making trades, never making moves, never doing anything, now wanting to cut salary. Right now, I have hope.
I feel you.
Okay. You've convinced me.
We had an 8.
But I'm still at a 7.
A 7 is not bad.
Not bad, honestly. I honestly was selling us a little short. I was at 6.5, so yeah.
You moved to a 7 now?
7.5. I'll take 7.5.
Oh.
Look, you were 8, you were 7. I'm 7.5 right in the middle.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you for tuning in with us. We appreciate you. We hope after Warriors loss, this made you feel a little more positive about the team. Look, don't ever think over here that we're not rooting for the Warriors to win it all. We're going to root for them. Just like my sick behind 49ers fans, I'm going to be rooting for the Eagles, even though I know they're not going nowhere. But that's what you do as a fan, because fandom is not rational, right? But I hope that we still offered you some hope and positivity for our Dubs. So thank you so much for tuning in with us. We are always grateful for your support. Make sure you are subscribed to 95.7 The Game's YouTube channel so you can get the latest Golden Spaces episodes the moment they dropped. You're subscribed, you get that notification. Make sure you are also following at Golden Spaces Pod on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, so you can see the content. And also make sure you're giving us positive reviews and giving us a 5-star rating and sharing with a friend and telling them about us, because we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much once again for tuning in. Oh, you're such a show off, Kariemah. And until next time, take care, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.